Hello and welcome. I'm Dawn, and tonight I'll be guiding you through a sleep hypnosis journey called The Garden Beyond the Stone. In this session, you'll be invited to relax deeply, let the day begin to soften and fade, and enter a gentle inner world where you can begin to move through old struggle and reconnect with peace, ease, and the quiet feeling of receiving something good. This journey is for those times when life's felt heavy for a while, when you've been coping, pushing through, holding things together, or staying braced for so long that rest can feel unfamiliar. And receiving joy, calm, love or abundance can feel harder than it really should. And if all that sounds familiar, you're very much not alone. Tonight's meditation is designed to help you to reconnect with a calmer, wiser, steadier part of yourself. The part of you that knows that you don't have to stay stuck where you once struggled. The part of you that understands you're allowed to soften now, and that peace, nourishment and goodness are not things you have to keep pushing away. As the journey unfolds, you'll return to the place where the great stone once blocked your path. And slowly, gently, you'll discover that the way is opened, and beyond it lies a beautiful hidden garden. A place of peace, rest, beauty, and quiet abundance. And while the story is symbolic, the emotional shift it can create can be very real. There's nothing you need to do perfectly as you listen. You don't need to force relaxation. You don't need to follow every word. And you don't need to stay awake until the end. You can simply get comfortable, allow my voice to wash over you, and let your deeper mind take from this recording whatever feels most useful for you. Some people listen closely for a while and then drift. Some people float in and out of the words. Some people fall asleep quite quickly. And all of that is completely fine. And because this is a sleep hypnosis recording, please only listen when you can relax safely, somewhere comfortable where you won't be disturbed, and never whilst driving or doing anything that needs your full attention. So when you're ready, let yourself settle in. Allow your body to be supported. Let the effort of the day begin to melt away. And perhaps as you rest here tonight, you may begin to discover that you don't have to stay loyal to struggle. That you're allowed to receive what's good. And that somewhere within you, there is already a wiser, calmer part that knows the path can open, peace can feel safe, and that something beautiful may be waiting beyond what once seemed blocked. So when you're ready, we'll begin. Tonight, you don't need to keep proving that you can survive hard things. You don't need to stay braced in order to be safe. You don't need to hold on to struggle as though it's the only thing that's ever made you strong. You don't need to keep standing guard against rest, against ease, against joy. Tonight, you can soften. You can let the body settle. You can let the mind grow quieter. You can allow the day to loosen its grip and drift a little further away. Because sometimes, after a long time of coping, of carrying, of pushing, of protecting, it can become strangely hard to receive what's gentle. Hard to trust peace. Hard to trust ease. Hard to trust that something good could be real and safe and meant for you too. And tonight, you don't need to force yourself to believe anything grand. You only need to rest. And perhaps in rest, something inside you can begin to remember that you were never meant to live only in survival. So just begin by allowing yourself to get comfortable. Let the surface beneath you support your weight. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands rest easily. Let your chest and stomach move naturally with the breath. Let your legs grow heavy. And without trying to do this perfectly, simply notice the breath you're already breathing. The rise, the fall, the gentle rhythm that continues on its own. And with each breath out, imagine releasing a little more of the day. The effort, the noise, the task, the conversations, the little tensions still held in the body. The old habits of scanning, managing, guarding, anticipating. Let all of that drift a little further away now. Not because it was never needed, but because it doesn't need to be running the whole show here. This time is for sleep. This time is for easing. This time is for remembering that you're allowed to rest before you earn it. And as you continue to breathe, perhaps somewhere behind closed eyes, the familiar path begins to open once again. Soft beneath your feet, moonlit, quiet, lined with small golden lanterns, glowing gently in the dark. A path into the deeper realm within. And as you become aware of this path, you may imagine yourself standing at its beginning once more. Not as a tired self that has had to keep going, not as a self that expects effort before comfort. Not as a self that wonders if it's really allowed to have anything good, but as a deeper self, the wiser self, the steadier self, the kinder self, the hero within. And by now perhaps you know this hero well enough to understand something important. The hero within is not only the part that faces challenge, not only the part that endures, not only the part that keeps walking when things are hard. The hero within must also learn how to receive, how to soften, how to trust, how to enter peace without apologizing for it. How to let goodness in without looking over the shoulder, waiting for it to be taken away. And tonight, that is the journey. So you begin to walk slowly, easily, one gentle step at a time. The lanterns glow softly around you. The air is cool and still. The path beneath your feet feels steady and kind. And with each step, you drift deeper into rest. Further from effort. Further from the outer noise of the day. Further into that inner place where truth becomes simpler. After a while, the path begins to feel familiar in a different way. The shape of the land, the curve of the road, the hush in the air. And soon you realize where you're going. You're returning to the place of the great stone. The place where once the boulder stood across the path. The place where fear looks solid. The place where old protection seemed immovable. And perhaps some part of you remembers that place. The heaviness of it. The apparent finality of it. The sense of something precious lay on the other side, but couldn't yet be reached. So now you continue walking toward it. No rush. No dread. Just a quiet willingness to see what is here now. And as you come closer, you notice something has changed. The air is softer here, warmer somehow, touched with the faint scent of flowers and plants that are growing. And where once the boulder blocked the entire way, the path is open. Perhaps the stone has rolled gently aside. Perhaps it has softened into the hillside. Perhaps it's broken into smaller, harmless pieces that now line the path like old ruins no longer in charge. However it appears, one thing is clear. What once blocked you is no longer the end of the road. So pause for a moment now at the place where the boulder used to stand. Notice the open way ahead. Notice what that feels like. Because sometimes when a path opens, the body doesn't yet know what to do with that. When you're used to guarding, openness can feel unfamiliar. When you're used to longing, receiving can feel almost suspicious. When you're used to surviving, peace can feel like something you should double check before entering. Quite understandable, really. So the hero within doesn't rush past this moment. The hero within pauses here with kindness. And perhaps a truth rises now, soft and steady. path is open now. Let that settle inside you. The path is open now. Not because the past never happened. Not because there will never be another challenge. Because something has shifted. Old fear softened. Old protection loosened. Old stuckness moved enough for life to flow again. And perhaps now another truth comes. I don't have to stay where I once got stuck. Let that drift through the deeper mind. I don't have to stay where I once got stuck. And with that you begin to walk forward through the place where the stone once stood. Beyond the old point of blockage. Into the land that waited on either side. And as you pass through, the world opens. Before you lies a hidden garden. A vast, quiet garden, enclosed by old stone walls and flowering arches. A place full of moonlight and soft lantern glow. A place alive with colour, even in the night. There are winding paths of pale stone. Beds of flowers opening under the moon. Tall grasses swaying gently in the night air. Trees heavy with blossom and fruit. Still pools reflecting stars. Benches of warm stone. Vines curling around ancient archways. Soft moss beneath your feet. The faint sound of water flowing somewhere in the distance. And perhaps what you notice most is the feeling of this place. Not grand in a showy way, not excessive, not trying to impress, just deeply alive, deeply peaceful, deeply enough. This is a garden of receiving. A garden of nourishment, peace, and everything the fearful part of you once believed was beyond reach. And perhaps now, as you step into this place, some part of you becomes emotional in the quietest way. Not dramatic, just moved. Because after a long struggle, beauty can do that. After deprivation, gentleness can do that. After years of bracing, simple peace can feel almost unbelievable. So now the hero then walks slowly into the garden, and you walk too, taking the colours, the scents, the softness of the air. The richness of life all around you. Notice that nothing here is demanding anything from you. Nothing here needs to be earned in the moment. The flowers are not asking for credentials. The trees are not asking whether you've worked hard enough to deserve their shade. This garden isn't here to test you. It's here to welcome you. And perhaps the hero then understands something very important now. Many people know how to endure pain. Fewer know how to receive peace. So just pause for a moment in the garden and notice whether any part of you still feels a little cautious, a little watchful, a little unsure whether you're truly allowed to be here. If so, let that be all right. Because the hero within is patient. No forcing, no pretending. Only a gentle invitation to notice something true. This garden didn't grow for somebody else's worthiness. It grew because life moves towards life. It grew because what's alive in you longs for nourishment. It grew because peace is not only for the few. It is part of what human beings need. And perhaps now a truth rises gently. I'm allowed to receive what is good. Let that settle. I'm allowed to receive what is good. And as that truth begins to move through you, perhaps the garden responds. The air warms slightly. The lanterns glow more brightly. The flowers seem to open a little further. Not because the garden is judging you, but because it recognizes the truth. So now you wander a little deeper into this place. Perhaps you come first to a still pool. The water is clear and calm, reflecting moonlight and stars. And as you kneel beside it, you look into the water and see not the tired, guarded version of yourself, but something softer, something more open, something more natural. A face at peace. A self less defended. A self not stripped of strength, but no longer using strain as proof of worth. And perhaps the hero within says gently, peace doesn't make me weak. Peace lets me return to myself. Let that move through you. Peace doesn't make me weak. Peace lets me return to myself. And perhaps after that, you wander toward a fruit tree, heavy with ripe glowing fruit. The branches bend low, as though offering nourishment freely. And maybe you understand that this too is symbolic. The fruit of joy. The fruit of rest. The fruit of love. The fruit of abundance. The fruit of being sustained rather than depleted. And perhaps you reach up and take one piece of fruit into your hand. It is warm, fragrant, perfectly ripe. And as you taste it in the imagination, perhaps you feel a quiet message moving through you. I don't have to starve myself of goodness. Let that settle. I don't have to starve myself of goodness. Because sometimes people become so used to emotional drought, so used to withholding, delaying, minimizing, dismissing, that even joy is treated like contraband. But not here. Here, goodness is not dangerous. Here, nourishment is not indulgence. Here, ease is not laziness. Here, beauty is not a trap. Here, life is allowed to be kind. And perhaps as you continue walking, you come to a wide patch of soft grass filled with moon-white flowers. In the centre is a place prepared for rest. Perhaps a cushioned daybed between flowering branches. Perhaps a low stone couch draped in soft blankets. Perhaps a sheltered alcove open to the stars. Perhaps a hammock strung between old fruit trees, moving gently in the night air. Whatever appears, let it feel exactly right. And before you settle there, perhaps one final understanding rises from somewhere deep within. That receiving is not passive. Receiving can take courage too. It takes courage to let peace in after chaos. It takes courage to stop expecting loss in every lovely thing. It takes courage to rest without turning rest into guilt. It takes courage to believe that goodness is not always temporary. And perhaps the hero within says softly now, I don't have to stay loyal to struggle. Let that settle deeply. I don't have to stay loyal to struggle. Because struggle may have shaped parts of you. It may have taught you. It may have strengthened you in some ways. But it's not the only place where meaning lives. There is meaning in peace too. There is wisdom in rest. There is dignity in receiving. There is strength in letting the body and heart learn that safety can last longer than a passing moment. So now, allow yourself to settle into this resting place in the garden. Feel the softness beneath you. Feel the night air around you. Feel the quiet life of the garden holding you without pressure. And perhaps now, the hero within leaves you with a few truths to carry into sleep. The path is open now. I don't have to stay where I once got stuck. I'm allowed to receive what is good. Peace doesn't make me weak. Peace lets me return to myself. I don't have to starve myself of goodness. I don't have to stay loyal to struggle. I'm allowed to rest in something beautiful. I'm allowed to feel peace. Let those truths drift through the deeper mind now. No effort needed. No need to cling onto every word. Just let them settle where they're most needed. And perhaps now, as your body grows heavier and more relaxed, you notice the garden around you. beginning to glow more softly. The lanterns dim just enough. The flowers breathe out their quiet scent. The pools reflect a slow shimmer of starlight. The trees keep gentle watch. And somewhere within, the old survival self begins to understand that it can unclench. Not forever all at once, perhaps. Not in some dramatic, absolute way. Just a little more. A little deeper. A little safer. And for tonight, that is enough. Tonight, it's enough that you came beyond the stone. It's enough that you entered the garden. It's enough that some part of you remembered that peace isn't forbidden. So now let yourself drift. Let your shoulders soften further. Let your forehead smooth. Let your hands rest heavily. Let your breath become slow and easy. There is only the garden now. The stillness. The flowers. The moonlight. The softness. And deep inside, the hero within remains. Calm, steady, kind. No longer asking you only to endure. Also inviting you to receive. So drift now. Further down. Further in. Further away from the all belief. The struggle is the only familiar home. Sleep in peace. Sleep in softness. Sleep in the growing truth that you're allowed to rest in what is good. And while you sleep, the garden remains. The path remains open. Boulder remains behind you. The night remains gentle. And somewhere deep within, more room is being made for ease, for nourishment, for joy, for life. Until even the words can fade. And all that remains is peace and rest and sleep.